life is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. Well, in a world where challenges are plentiful, it's easy for us to feel discouraged. Yet with enough guidance and support, most people can achieve more in life than they ever dreamed possible. Well, beyond your fears is everything you ever dreamed of. For the Dr. STEM Show will give the voiceless a voice and the hopeless hope. And now, here she is, Dr. STEM.
Hello, before we start the show, I wanted to ask, have you heard of the Empowerment Academy that I just created? Well, if you haven't, this is a platform that has unlimited access that you will have to confidence programs, self-esteem programs, and success building programs, as well as mental health and mental wellness programs. Join today at www.drstemi.com. Now, let's get into the show. Hello and welcome to another segment of the Dr. STEM Show. I'm very excited today because the person that I have on today is no stranger to the Dr. STEM Show. So I want to welcome Reverend Dr. Reese to the show.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it, Dr. STEM. Glad to be with you again.
Again, I know. And in this time, let me just remind people who you are. And, he's a pastor. He's a reverend, he's a doctor, and most of all, when you ask him who he is, he will tell you, I'm a husband, minister of the gospel, a teacher, mentor, coach, and yes, a motivational speaker. He is a familiar voice of the Dr. STEM Show, as I said, that when we come across challenging times, like the times that we are in now, I always run back to Dr. Reverend Reese because he is a voice of reason and hope that we all need right now. So I am glad that he was gracious enough with his time to come back and grace us again and help open up the difficult dialogue of race, hope, and where we go to move on from where we are right now. So Doc, I want to congratulate you on your retirement because the last time we spoke, you were preparing for the big party and the big exit. So congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stan. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I know one of the many things that you're doing during your retirement, besides the ongoing honey-do list, you are keeping busy with a Monday morning memo. Can you tell us a little bit about what Monday morning memo is all about?
Yes. Well, the origin of this memo, it occurred as I was assistant principal at the Daugherty Memorial High School here in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I used to walk through the halls. And when I was, teaching, I was the assistant principal, and several teachers, staff members would see me smiling on a Monday morning, singing the song. Not that I'm a great song, but, it sounds good to me when I'm singing it. And they were asking me, Doc, what type of drugs are you on? And I would tell them what I did on Sunday. I planted blossom seeds on Sunday morning. And I'm reaping my harvest on the Monday morning. Therefore, the theme of Monday Morning Blossom took root from that interaction between my colleagues and me. And again, you reap what you sow. Whatever we, sold or yesterday, we're going to reap today or tomorrow. And if you sow a kernel of corn, and during the planting season, and then when the harvest comes, you get more than one kernel. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 stalks, and each of those stalks has around about 300 kernels. So I just, believe that the identical law of the harvest. So with that said, I hope that, people will wake up this morning with purpose and passion to fulfill their purpose. And so it just brought forth joy, happiness is a choice. And I choose to be happy. And so that's where Monday Morning Blossom took root of it. And then again, it was after that, this year, I really started doing it every Monday. That writing some type of blog of motivation, inspiration of things that are occurring, and therefore through my whole premise and my whole modus operandi is bring forth hope. And like I said, hope is an action. Hope is not some type of mythological or nubalist or some type of just wishful thinking. So it's a Monday morning blossom that brings forth, because you got to realize, and we talked about this before, that the day that and time that people get depressed out of the week is a Sunday evening at 5 p.m. and Monday morning at 5 a.m., dreading to go back to that job. That 80%, 75 to 80% of the people that working 9 to 5 or profession, doctors, lawyers, or career, blue collars, whatever job they have, 75% of them dislike or really hate what they do. So Monday morning, instead of me feeling, depressed or having sheep therapy or dreading to go back, let me tell you something, Doc. In my 35 years of being an educator, working in rural North Carolina, working in the inner cities of New York City, in the heart of New York City, and working in Springfield, Massachusetts, working and retiring and working in Worcester, I never said I'm going to work. I never said I'm going to a job. I said I'm going to school. I'm going to Dodge. I'm going to Duggan Middle School. I'm going to Darty. And right now, like I say, I adjunct at Worcester State University. I don't say I'm going to work. I'm going to school. I got a Zoom class. I don't say I'm getting up Sunday morning and going to work. I get up Sunday morning and go to church. So I never took it as a job. A job, if you look at the acronyms of a job, J-O-B, and what it stands for, it just overbroke. But, so I never called going to job. It's work. It's God never gave Adam a job. God gave Adam work to work the garden. And work is fulfilling your full actualization, your potential that God have designed you to be. So it's just like this is not a job to me. This is not a work. This is something I enjoy doing. So that's how Monday Morning Blossom came into being.
That's exciting. So I know there was one that I really want to particularly focus on today, because it was very thorough, for one, and I think very appropriate for the times that we're in now. And that was the one, hope in the midst of hopelessness, because it does get into racial injustice. What motivated you to focus on, really getting, because you went to town with this one.
Well, the one that I sent out today is actually the question, is racism a sin? And I really delve into that even deeper than hope in the midst of hopelessness.
Okay.
But what it is that, everything is like the perfect storm. We look around with COVID-19 and how it is really disproportionately affecting Black and brown people. And therefore it uncovered the health disparities in our country. It pulled back the curtain, and therefore now we see the emperor that he really naked. All along, he's walking naked, and then nobody want to say that the emperor is not wearing clothes. But now we see that he's naked. The nation is naked. All of their nakedness is being on public display in the global community.
Yeah.
And so therefore, and then with police brutality, it's been going on for years. And therefore, for us in 2015, when Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, Missouri, and then the Black Lives Movement came into existence, and then about 10-15% of Americans just looked at upon maybe some positive, but then 85% of them looked upon them as some type of anti-fascist group or some type of terrorist. But today, 74% of Americans are looking for the fact that Black lives, do matter. So therefore, the needle is moving, pointing for equity and social justice. And you got to realize that I've been a critical practitioner for diversity and inclusion and equity and social justice for over 40 years, through my professional training. So therefore, this is like, my sweet spot. This is second nature to me. So therefore, that's to come when I look at the horrific scene of George Floyd being killed by a police officer, one that have took the oath to uphold the law and to have civic understanding, to protect the citizens of this country. But to see that this police officer, which was white, had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, it was horrific. Yeah. So therefore, we trying to say it just unfold what's been going on, police brutality, systemic racism, institutional racism. And all I'm trying to say that this had been orchestrated from the government of the United States from, we became a country in 1778 with the Constitution of the United States. Mm-hmm. So it's the country. Yeah. It's a systemic, institutional racism. And then when you define racism, it depends on how you define it. If you define racism as being prejudice, then that's then bias and what have you, then we all have a little bias and prejudice. But if you define racism as the means of controlling the purse strings, the economy, and power, then we look at it in a different perspective. So that's it's a perfect storm. Yeah. That people have seen this in all types, and who have been mistreated, much as Africans and their descendants, and indigenous people and their descendants. So we have been demoralized. We have been dehumanized and demonized by the powers that be. So this thing is strategic. So that's the come I'm saying. But even in the midst of chaos, Dr. Stem, in the midst of chaos, hope will come out. So therefore, I look at hope as an action. Hope is the same root word that comes from the word curve, the bend, the arc of justice, bend toward justice. Therefore, the root of the word hope gives us a connotation of a change in direction, going in a different way. Hope is acting into the change we want to see. It's not passive, it's action. It's not wishful thinking. It's putting forth action to bring upon the change. And the change that I want to see, and you've been knowing me for years. Yes. The change I want to see in the world, I exhibit through my life and action in my behavior.
Mm-hmm. So I think, one of the disheartening things, for me is even the word debate. For people to put out there that we need to debate about it, and yet we are talking about inequality, we are talking about injustice, we are talking about mistreatment, and even unnecessary loss of lives, that it shouldn't even be a debate. It should be changes that start to happen, and changes that start to happen from, the small changes to the big changes. So when you think about it, because I think one of the things that we try to do is to talk to people about practical, small changes that they can make at a small scale. What are some of the things that you think if we need to look at it and advise people and open up dialogue with people? What are those small changes that they can start making?
Well, I teach, I had I had a Zoom presentation a few weeks ago with the principal of the elementary school that my grandchildren go to. He reached out to me, said, Dr. Reese, I really need some help. I'm trying to understand anti-racist. I'm trying to get to a point to try to educate myself. And the first step of becoming an anti-racist is that first you got to be true with yourself. You got to acknowledge your biases. You need to acknowledge your privileges. You need to acknowledge and be educated. Educate yourself to these things. So therefore, that's what I'm trying to do. And in my presentation, even in my guidelines to a dialogue for diversity and inclusion and equity and social justice, I put on it, first of all, try on. In other words, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and somebody, and like I say, you might have a jacket on, and I'll take my jacket off and put my jacket on. Now, it's hard, it's difficult, uncomfortable to put my jacket on while you're wearing your jacket. So therefore, you got to take your jacket off. And that was being transparency. And, thank God for clothes, because nobody wants people to see themselves naked. But therefore, in order, at least Delta said in her book on other people's children, said you got to be naked, transparent, and truth, and that people can see you as you are. So the first thing, you have to acknowledge yourself. As Safer said, to know thyself is to be true to thyself. Mm-hmm. But most of us, we hide it behind a veneer. We hide it as a mask, and we're not truthful to ourselves and our authentic self. So you have to be your authentic self. Like I tell people in my presentation, Don, how many in this presentation chose their parents? Oh, I chose my mother. I chose my father. Who in here chose their ethnicity? Oh, I just want to be black. I just want to have kinky hair. I just don't want to be, I want to be white. I want straight hair. I want a pointy nose. Oh, I just want to be born in the hood. Just put me in the ghetto. No, put me in affluent society. How many in here name themselves? And I say, raise your lying hand. And they start laughing. Because nobody chose to be here. Yeah. Nobody chose to be black. Lord, just give me my parents, two parents. Both my parents were born in Jim Crow, Georgia, in the South. They were sharecroppers. They were fruit pickers. Both my mother and father have less than a 6th grade education. They came to New York City looking for the American dream. And they came here in the mid-1940s. And then the bright lights, the city lights, blinded my father. He got caught up with debilitated habits, womanizing, drinking, and gambling. And it really caused a divorce of my parents. And my 9 siblings and me grew up in a perpetual poverty. Now, what I chose that, Lord, give me 2 illiterate parents. Give me people. My father died at 85 years old, illiterate, and couldn't write his name. And my mother was in her 50s before she got her GED. So I'm just trying to tell you what I chose. If I had a choice, I love my mother, father, but would I choose to pick them as my parents? Would I choose to be born in the ghettos? Would I choose to be born in poverty? The answer unequivocally, no. But here I am. So therefore, I've learned, since I have no choice, and God made me, and it was through my perspective of my worldview on the Bible that set my moral compass and give me the identity that I am, that made me who I am, and made me to fall in love with myself, my blackness, my kinky hair, whatever. I've learned to love myself because I was made for purpose. 2 of the most important days of our lives, Doc. is the day that we were born and the day that we discover why, our purpose. Our purpose gets us started, but then you need passion. Passion is the fuel that puts it in your belly, that able you to overcome adversities, discrimination, racism, and any other obstacle that keep you from fulfilling your purpose. And your purpose is for God's glory. Your purpose is for his pleasure and not my own. So that's what makes me so much different, become a man among men based upon my worldview of my relationship with God.
So, what I like about, thank you for that. What I like about the way that you chose to fight, this indiscrimination and injustice is, your parents were illiterate, but here you are, you have the highest of, educational degrees that you took and you took that route. So what would you advise a young man that is seeing all this now, and they're Black and they're wondering, how best do I fight this and come out of this, and be heard so that change can happen? What
Number one, change only occur in a community. You cannot change by yourself.
Yeah.
How did I learn to talk? How did I learn to get potty trained? I learned that in my community. So therefore, again, change requires community. It requires, as I did, you cannot become what you don't see. So therefore, and children see themselves as a reflection through the eyes of adults. So therefore, and you being the psychologist that you are, you know that it's important that you have mentors. And so therefore, the church was my saving grace that made a positive difference in my life. The pastors, the people that I was surrounded with that told me, in reading the Bible, I learned how to read, Doc, by reading the Bible. I was a game banger. I was a hoodlum. I was a rug rack. I was a baby child.
Yeah.
But it was through the mentors, people sow it into my life. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the smartest person in my group. Because, Doc, if I'm the smartest person in my group, let me tell you, daughter, my group is in trouble.
But you're high up there with the smartest, I can tell you that.
Look, I came out of Shaw University with a 3.9 GPA in mathematics. Not that I was the smartest cookie in the jar, but guess what? I was in the jar with the smartest cookies.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I have the people, let me tell you, Doc, tell me who you associate with and tell me what you read. I'll tell you what you're going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. Yeah. So that's what my saving grace. And right now, I associate with people that sow into my life, that add to my life. You add to my life. I never get mean you in Philadelphia in 2013. And you want intelligent human beings. What you did, how you accomplished coming to this country from Zimbabwe, okay? And going to college at night, 11,000 years to get your doctorate. Those are the type of people those my people. Those my peeps. Those my peeps. You understand? Those my peeps.
One day at a time.
Industrial. You the people that I talk to. Because guess what? Iron sharp as iron. It cuts, but it don't make you bleed. It empowers you. You add value to my life. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy being around you. I just enjoy it. Working with you because we are better together.
Together, yeah.
Just like you and I. You and I, Doc, can run faster alone. But guess what? You and I can run further together.
Together, you're right.
We can run further, and we have done that.
You're right.
So it's association.
Yes.
It's people mentoring. Like I was a math teacher, and sometimes I was maybe 1 or 2 Black males in the school, And right now, since I retired from the high school, they don't have one black male in that school in the last 2 years. And then the thing about it, statistically, social scientists said that a black teacher is positive in the lives of all ethnicity, but particularly in the lives of a black child.
Yeah.
One black child from K to 12 that have one black teacher, that child have the possibility, the probability of finishing high school and matriculating through college and being a gainful contribution in the global community. With two black teachers, that child has a 34 to 35% chance of finishing high school.
Yeah.
Because we look at the world different. So I'm just telling you that. So my saving grace and my resiliency was through the black church.
Yeah. So then, now that, because I was also at Salem High School as a, counselor over there, remember when I had my private practice?
Yes.
And they didn't have any African Americans, on their staff.
Right.
So I was, one of the black, administrators in administration. How would you encourage one to get into teaching for our young ones that might see this and say, you know what, that could be a great career for me?
Well, it's like this. I'm on the Worcester Public Schools and Worcester State University committee.
Okay.
For recruiting and retaining teachers of color, particularly black teachers.
Yeah.
In Worcester, because right now Worcester have in our public schools have about 17% of students of color that go into their schools, okay. And around about 23% of people from Latino heritage or what have you. But they only have about 3.5% of teachers of color, but they have 10% of Latino teachers in the school. The college has 84% or 86% of the teachers are from European descendants. Okay. They only have about 4.8 teachers of colors in the school.
Wow. And
so therefore, the problem with this is that it's not so much recruiting them. Mm-hmm. It is retaining them.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I tell I tell the superintendent, I tell the president of the college, mm-hmm. You cannot just tolerate blackness. You got to celebrate it. And mm-hmm. Therefore, I've told teachers when I was assistant principal and I would evaluate teachers in the classroom, and I would tell them that black and brown children mm-hmm. can read you, the teacher, better than they can read the textbook. And so therefore, I have a dog in my house, little Teddy. When Teddy see me, he just go crazy. Oh, he just wag his tail, he bark. And my wife, my kids say, Papa, you didn't spoil that dog. No, that dog know that I love him. So if a dog can discern who love him and who don't love him, what about young students? So therefore, the education community got to make a concerted effort, because what they're doing is playing, lip service to diversity. See, there's a difference between diversity and inclusion, Doc. Mm. Diversity is that you could say we got two women, one black man, a Latino, a white person. You could look at that qualitatively.
Yes.
But then inclusion means that their voice is valued, and you see them as an individual person with worth. And that's where inclusion get lost in the sauce in diversity. Mm. So therefore, unlike me, I'm in this house with my wife because she celebrates me. I'm in here because she let me be me, even though she kind of knows she manipulate me sometimes. But telling me I'm the boss, but I know that who's running this here house is my wife. I'm gonna just tell the truth. Yeah. But I know that. But what she does that I love about her, listen to me and underscore this for the audience.
Okay.
My wife gives me what every man wants, and that is respect.
Yes.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
You're right.
My wife respect me. I don't need her to love me. I love myself. But my wife need me to tell her every day, baby, I love you.
And her actions show that she respects you. That's good.
And that's the key. So
Yeah.
children want respect. Wanting respect without giving respect is like clouds without water.
Mm.
It's like words without context.
Yeah.
It's meaningless. And words without love, Doc, is nothingness.
Yeah.
It's just noise.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Words of wisdom. I like you cannot just tolerate blackness. You have to celebrate it. I mean, that just like, wow. That's very true. Very right. So as we part, I don't believe time just moves by so fast. What are you doing? Where can people get you? How are you enhancing people's lives? I know you're doing a lot in your retirement right now.
So somebody asked the other day,
Yeah.
I was on a Zoom with the Framingham
Mhm.
public schools. I'm on their committee for anti-racism and revising their handbook.
Okay.
And then we introduced me. They said, what do I do? I said, well, I'm Dr. Reese. I am the senior pastor of Framingham Church of God in Christ. I'm an adjunct professor at Worcester State University where I teach diversity and inclusion. I teach mathematics and I teach different curriculum structure and design. I'm on the City of Worcester board, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Board. I'm on Framingham Action Board, and I'm advisor to the president of Worcester State University and the Framingham Public. He said, "Are you retired?"
That's what I was just about to say.
And you know what I told him?
Hmm.
Now you mailing. You sound like my wife now.
Doesn't sound like a retirement.
Sarah, you tell me, hey, I thought you were retired.
Because
I told people, let me get a qualifier. I am retired from the Worcester Public Schools. I am retired from public school education after 35 years as a practitioner of mathematics and administrator.
wow.
But other thing, I involved. So you got my website is Dr. Reese Speak. Dr. Reese Speak, .org. So they can find me right there. drreesespeak.org.
Okay.
So that's where they can find me. You got my card.
And I know you also on Facebook. So,
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I've been preaching on Facebook because we still sheltered in place. And I don't think this is me now, Doc. This is me. Now, this is what I tell people. The only one that I'm listening to is the scientists and the expert, epidemiologists. I'm listening to Anthony Fauci, Robert Redfield, people that's telling me through the science. Now, I don't care what the president say or his cabinet. I don't care what the bishop say, presiding bishop of the Church of God in Christ. I really don't hear what the Pope got to say. I will go back into the school. I'll go back into the church, the quarter, when CDC, when the National Health Institute said it's safe to go. I wear a mask. I wash my hands because being asymptomatic, you don't know who is carrying the disease.
Yeah.
Doc, my next birthday, I'll be 69 years old. I'm asking you a question. Do you think I got 69 more years ahead of me?
We better make the most of them. All right, Doc, I need you to end with one of your favorite quotes. So what is your favorite quote as we end this show?
Basically, this is one I'm going to use for this time right here.
Yeah.
Faith mixed with foolishness will create total fatal fatality. Faith mixed with foolishness will result in fatal total fatality.
And I want to remind I want to remind all the audience that, listen, he has platform on Facebook that you literally can send him messages, but read more about this. That's a very, very, good quote. Faith without
Faith mixed
with foolishness. Okay.
Results in fatal fatality.
Woo. Deep. I want to end with reminding all of you that nothing is permanent. So don't stress yourself too much, because no matter how bad this moment and this situation that we are in, it too shall pass. This is Dr. Stem. Thank you, Dr. Reese. It's always great to have you on the show.
Hey, and that's what, Doc, it's good looking at you too.
Thank you.
You just heard from Dr. Stem. She is opening up an opportunity for you to have unlimited access to Empowerment Hub, filled with life success resources to help you deal with stress, communication, confidence issues, career decisions, business success tips, and more. So now, the only question left is, are you ready? Are you ready to tackle that one thing preventing you from achieving your highest potential? To achieve that one goal you've been chasing, to turn your dreams into reality, to finally keep that promise you've been making to yourself. Let Dr. Stem's programs be your guide to feeling more confident and fearless. Are you ready to become a Premier member for only $27 a month? That's less than a coaching session. Get unlimited access to Dr. Stem's empowerment courses, ebooks, free webinars, and more. Become a member today for only $27 a month.